Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Kevin Burry, Senior Vice President, Chief Customer Officer, Enable.
Good morning, Empower. How are we all doing today? All right, that's good. I got to tell you, I have been blown away by your reception to what we're now trying to do, right? John has talked an awful lot about this idea, and you see it here on the screen, that your success drives our success. And that's, something that I have absolutely leaned into. Our teams are absolutely focusing on that. And today I want to talk about what that means. But before I do, I want to establish a little context here, right? So yesterday when Lisa was talking, two things dawned on me. The first of which was, I got to change a whole lot of stuff in my world because I'm just trying to do too many things. The one thing that I took away from her list was be very intentional, right? So for me, that's what I'm going to focus on. The second, and I have to change my presentation overnight because of it, is that you guys get bored very quickly, and then you go into this little trough, and then you hope that I end very soon, and so you can get your energy back up. So in light of that, we have changed the presentation. Not really, I was going to do it anyway. But we've got stories that we're going to talk about your experiences in what we're doing to be able to show what this stuff means and when we execute on it, right? So look for that as we go through this presentation. The other thing that for me has been the overwhelming word that I would use is this idea of relationship, right? Relationships is really what it's all about. We talk about partnering, we talk about these things. John has been adamant about we need to view our customers as our partners, right? Last night we got into I was in a heated debate with one of our partners, and we were talking about some things that they were experiencing, and I said, okay, you know what? This is really predicated on us having a very strong relationship. So that's my word coming out of this, is that what we really have with you guys is a relationship. So as we go through this presentation, I want you to think about that word. Now, while I haven't met you all, met many of you, while I haven't met you all, I want to extend some of the things that you will know about me so that when you approach me and we meet, you know a little bit about me, so we're in a relationship, right? So the walk-up music that one of my guys chose was about this idea of being a highway star because for those of you who know me well, I like to race cars. That's actually me at the SCCA runoffs last year at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. For the Sentinel One guys, your logo would look great on the side of that car. So I would like some of that money you're funneling into the Aston Martin team. Can be Team Bury, that'd be good. I am a devoted family man, and I love building teams. You see a picture of our team there in Raleigh when we got together and had some sessions. So now you know a little bit about me. Part of being in a relationship, mostly being in a relationship, is about listening, right? And you guys have been very, very willing to share with us. I joined Enable from SolarWinds when we made the decision to spin out just about 2 years ago. And over those last 2 years, I spent a lot of time listening to you, listening to what you say, what you like, what you don't like, and what you want us to do. So we have compiled a list. Now, this is not the only things that you've said, but these are the top 6 things that you have told me directly, you've told my teams, you've told our support organization, the sales organization, across the board. These are the things you would like to see from us, okay? The first of which is, and this was a hard one for us, right? You want it to be easier to do business with us, right? You said, look, we love the tools, we love working with your people, but sometimes, got a clap over there, sometimes you make it difficult to do business with. And we heard you when we're leaning into that. And you're going to see all of these things reflected in the programs that we're designing for this. The next one is that you're using the tool, and too many times I've heard, gosh, I just don't feel like I'm getting enough value out of it. I'm only using it for 2 functions, and I know it can do a lot more than that. So can you help us get more value from the tools? And absolutely, we're listening there, all right? The next one is, and this one hurts me, and it hurts our organization because we spend a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of energy developing new features, trying to make you guys aware of it, and oftentimes we sit in meetings and they're like, I had no idea you do that. Somebody just said it to me last night after the day we had yesterday and said, I had no idea you guys do all these things. We've got to do a better job of helping you understand other ways that we can help you run your businesses and grow your businesses. Next one. And as evidenced by what we're seeing here at Empower this year is you want to engage more with your peers, right? I've been blown away at the level of collaboration, the level of relationship you guys want to have, your willingness to share and lean into that. So we want to facilitate more of those kind of conversations. Number two, and this is something that's relatively new, at least for me, is how many of you are asking us, hey, can you help us understand how Enable can help us grow our business, right? We're going to talk about some of the programs in just a bit, but that looking back to us beyond just the tools is about how do we help you grow your businesses? And so we're going to focus a lot on that as we go forward. And then the last thing, and this one just really hit it for me, and I've talked a lot about this word relationship. I got to tell you guys, I've been in technology now for 35 years. I've never seen I'm going to use a different word now, customer base so interested in wanting a deeper relationship with their vendor, right? John talks about this idea of partnership. That's what you want from us, and that's what we aspire to go off and do for you. And so you're going to see us as we roll through what the success motions look like and how we're trying to come to market for you, aligned with these 6 things, but it's all predicated on wanting to have a deeper relationship, right? Okay, so I want you to, and I'm very much in line with this idea of tell them what you want them to hear, right? And then tell them again at the end. So 2 things I want you to take away from this. The first of which is, I want you to be more aware, right, of all the things that we're doing and how we're organizing to drive your success, right? So this is our first chance in, I guess, 2.5 years since we've had Empower. I want to take this opportunity to walk you through in the next about 40 minutes or so. I'm going to go and do a deep dive on several of the offerings. We've got 17 different things. I'm not going to talk about each and every one of them, but I'm going to give you some homework. We said give us homework. I'm going to give you some homework to go off and look into some of these things and see how we can help you grow your business. And the next of which is, how do you get more involved, right? And again, in this relationship, we want you to be involved in that. Now, when I think about what we've done, John talked an awful lot about this transition from the transactional business that we were in when we were part of SolarWinds into much more of a relationship kind of business, and that's terrific, right? We leaned in very heavily with the creation of the Partner Success Motion. There are now about 100 people in Enable on my teams that are all exclusively focused on your success, right? That was a huge investment by the company, but we've continued in 2022 to build on that. You've heard mention of Market Builder, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. We've got Market Builder, which is a marketing automation technology you can take advantage of. We're going to talk extensively about business transformation and MSP benchmarking. These are things that we're doing. Based on your request, we rolled out a new enhanced services. Think of that as our professional services to help you get more value from the technology. So we continue to invest more in you and in our programs to drive more value. The sad thing is for me is I continually hear about a lack of knowledge about those things. So my ask is let's engage together to drive more awareness of that so you guys can take advantage of them. Okay, when I think about partner success, I see it on what I call 3 vectors, right? The first, and it's really important from my perspective, I'd love to get yours on this, but it's got to start with the product success. If you don't get value from the tools that you're using, as I like to say, we don't get to pass go, we don't get to collect our $200 and continue to play the game, right? You've got to get value from the tools that you're buying from us, and that's really important. The next of which is then account success. This goes back to what you specifically told us. We want you to make it easier for us to do business with you. And so we're aligning around that. And then lastly, and this is the thing that really excites me the most, especially in these sessions as we've been seeing over the last couple days, is how do we help you become more successful in running your businesses? And we'll talk more about those. So I want to talk about product success, first of all, from the perspective of what you've asked us for, which is this idea of enhanced services, right? You've said to us, look, there's some great stuff that we're doing, but we don't have enough capacity to do some of the things. Can you help us with this, right? Or, hey, we're about to do a large migration from one platform to the other. Can you help us with that? And so enhanced services are there to help you through those onboarding, to do things like premium support. This is one that there's some discussion and energy on, and I want to make sure that we are aligned around this. Leo Sanchez and his team have been focused very, very heavily in making certain that we have the appropriate skills and resources. We had a good conversation last night about what would a differentiated support vehicle look like for you guys, our elites and our super elites, our very largest customers. And that's something we're taking very seriously and we're leaning into. When I look at the overall product success, I said it's about getting value from the products. It absolutely is. We've aligned different programs. Some of these you may be aware of already. Some of these may be new to you, right? So everybody is very familiar with Marc-Andre and the Head Nerds, yes? Show of hands. Okay, that's great. We're continuing to invest in the Head Nerds. It's a really important component, but that's just one of the many components that we have, right? We've invested, and I mentioned, in the onboarding. One of the things Leo's group is looking at is doing health checks to come in and look at how you're using the technology, making sure that it's optimized. We're going to see a story of one of our accounts, Red Eye, who was struggling with their implementation. They were at a point of being frankly frustrated, and they asked us, can you guys come in and look at this? And so we'll talk about what that looks like and how we use some of these services to be able to help them get to a better place. The MSP Institute, this is one of the things that I don't think gets enough love. Aris Demostinos has done a terrific job of building out this content. He takes all the content from the Head Nerds. He's got all of our technical training. We are invested very heavily in the Institute because it's a way of sharing our knowledge about our products and what we can do for you. And we want to see that continue to drive more and more of your success. So that's kind of an overview. What I'd like to show you now is one program that we are launching this fall, and then I want to tell the story of the guys at Red Eye, right? So we've talked about what the nerds have been doing with regard to boot camps. They do a terrific job of doing online boot camps. They run them multiple times every month. We're now going to do some deeper dives, some in-person training, where we're going to offer up coming into one of our facilities and sending your folks to do deep dive training for a couple days, right? So this is something that we've been talking about doing. Aris has wanted to do it for a long while, and we said, look, we have got to get this brought to market to help our partners get their people up to speed very quickly. So we will be launching this hopefully later this year yet. So that's a new and exciting thing that we're looking at. Now, I want to tell the story. So this is the every 5 minutes we got to interject some more energy. So I want to introduce the story of Red Eye Tech and what they've gone through in their own words and how we were able to help them. So.
I'm Dane Johnson at Red Eye Tech. The clients that we serve are mostly around the Omaha, Nebraska area, and the industries we support are very broad too, anything from a car dealership to a dentist office. And it could be 10 users, could be 100 users, could be 1,000 users. Our first RMM tool I implemented myself, but I didn't sleep for like 3 days because I was so excited about all the little things you could do with the RMM tool. And then I slowly was needed in other areas of the company, so it faded away. It sat on a shelf and it just did. We weren't innovative about new things coming up there, and we kind of lost our way with our RMM tool.
I think, you know, in the initial setup of it and everything, there was a ton of stuff that we could be using the system for. That we were just so busy that it was up and running, and so we're like, all right, just keep going, keep going. I think that when we realized that we needed to get things set up differently, to get the correct foundation or baseline to even start to automate stuff, I knew that it was going to be a huge undertaking. And we were in the middle of, you know, absolute craziness as far as growth goes, and I was a little bit like, oh my, I don't know that this is ever going to get figured out.
We weren't proactive anymore. Patches were getting missed. We were manually doing a lot of work. It was not going the way I thought it was going. We got some assistance from another outside party that I thought would help. They came in and they basically put a lot of templates into our RMM tool to help accelerate where we're at today. But they also they dropped a whole bunch of templates that work good for somebody else. They might not have worked good for us.
When we reach out to Enable to ask about if there would be assistance or available with enhanced services, I felt like it was kind of a hope and a prayer, like, you know, maybe they'll be able to help us. So I was really pleasantly surprised by everybody's ability to mobilize. It didn't feel like your team and our team. It felt like we were on the same team.
The future of Red Eye Tech is surrounding myself with people that like what they're doing and achieving awesome goals for our customers and just killing it for them.
So we're in a position now to really be able to move forward with confidence, that we've got things set up in a way that our clients are going to feel like they're truly taken care of in the way that we want them to feel, because we know that we're in a much better and much more foundationally structured version of the software, and now we can kind of like move up. And I really think that if we can do our part, the sky's the limit for what we can do here.
What a great story. I love the fact that that happens because of relationship, right? They came to us and said, look, we're not in a good place and we need your help. And so we were able to work together through a combination of their partner success manager, the growth strategist, the head nerds, our enhanced services, to put together essentially a re-implementation of them so they were now in an optimized place, right? This is what being a partner really means, but it means that we have to first listen. We have to first show up in a way that we really are working as partners. The next section is around account success. It's the same thing. Based on your feedback, your request of us, make it easier. We've now realigned and restructured our account teams. We've got partner success managers, and hopefully all of you know your partner success manager by now. I'm going to give you some homework on that a little bit later, so make sure you're paying attention to that one. We've got growth strategists that can come in and help you talk about where the growth potentials are within your business, and of course, our sales organization. We've also got a partner care organization that is all around making sure that your invoices are correct, and if you have any questions, they answer that. Any questions around licensing, we've aligned around that stuff. We've introduced this idea of a strategic business review, right? And this is a really new concept for us that we introduced about a year ago, and we continue to iterate on it, but it really aligns around what's important to you and where are we at in our relationship, right? So I want to jump to that here because it comes down to those two key questions. Now, hopefully everyone is familiar with a 9-box, right? It's a standard 9-box template that we use and said, okay, we're going to use for what's important to you based on essentially two vectors. On the x-axis, it's all around your operational maturity. Where are you? Now, we use profitability as one measure, but it can be around overall efficiency and effectiveness of your use of your business. And then on the vertical axis, it's all about your growth, right? These kind of conversations need to happen with you guys as partners. We're going to ask you very candid questions about, okay, where are you? What's important to you? What are you trying to do next? What do you talk about with your investors, right? What do you talk about with your leaders? Because that's critical for us to understand how do we best align to help you go off and achieve that, right? The second question is, where are you with regard to your relationship at Enable, right? How are you in using the technology? How can we help you get more value from it? From that, we can then design the right kind of program to be able to, again, align your goals to our offers and to make sure we bring the right people to bear to help you maximize what you're trying to do in your business, right? I want to now share a story of a company out of Katy, Texas called ByteTime, right? These guys are a wonderful story. This is a little bit longer story, but this is the kind of story that to me shows, again, the power of what a relationship could mean. When we truly come together, we share what's going on inside of our worlds, and then we get alignment, we can do great things together. So let me introduce you to the fellows at ByteTime.
Coaching young people is a passion of mine. And when it comes to coaching, that's the one place in my life that I feel like ultimate responsibility doesn't fall on my shoulder. New D, when you go back in, we're gonna go back in, start at 6. And it's a place that I can go and be of service at a different capacity. What kind of grades you make, man? What kind of grades you make? A-minuses. That's a place of, it's a place of peace for me. My name is Brandon Lehue. I'm the president of ByteTime Computing. We were founded by a group of 4 guys that have went through kindergarten through 12th grade together, been friends. They all served. I went to school. Early on, we started off trying to figure out how to do it, and what we wanted to accomplish and what our mission was. Like most MSPs, we started off throwing a dart on the wall, operating as a break-fix company, and eventually transitioned into a managed service provider.
We didn't have money to take over anybody. We didn't have any loans. it was basically paycheck to paycheck. You know, let's get this client, and then let's see what we can do with the money from this, and build this business from there. So, you know, we've grown organically in all caps.
If I could go back to pre-COVID, we weren't at a great place financially, probably like many other MSPs. You know, it's peaks and valleys, and you know, we started to hear about it in February 2020, and we kind of saw this coming, and we knew at that time we were going to have to find a way to keep our employees. So fast forward Q4 and going into Q1 of the following year, it was like a waterfall of counts falling off the cliff. Companies getting sold, companies getting bought, companies merging, companies going out of business, showing up to accounts, the doors were locked. And we had to figure a way through this. And we made the decision at that time, like, the market was telling us there's change, and the change was tech services is no longer the foot in the door sale. The sale is cybersecurity. That's what people are needing. You know, IBM released a study in 2019 and 2020 that said, you know, the average small business is impacted by $3.86 million by a cyber attack. Like, how does a small business overcome that, you know?
And Brandon had this brilliant idea of, let's go to a cybersecurity type company. So started looking at it, looking at the plan, looking at the policies, looking at the procedures that we were going to need to do all this. Where does that lead to? That means that now I had to start evaluating all of our vendors.
We had been a partner with N-able for close to 10 years, and we weren't sure, but we knew that we were going to take a hard look at everyone, and ultimately what it boiled down to was what we started to realize with N-able is we had never really engaged with N-able. And the reason for that was we were always getting a sales pitch. Every time the phone rang and it showed up as N-able, it was somebody calling to try and sell us one more widget or one more license or one more agent. And like you, I didn't have time for that. So fast forward back to the coming out of COVID, and we made the decision we're going to engage with N-able. We said we are going to spend the next 12, 18, 24 months giving N-able every chance there is to develop that relationship. Well, about that same time, N-able had started a new program with their partner success managers. And the first call we got on, it wasn't about what can we sell you, right? How can we make money off of you? And the strategy was, how can we help you grow so you can buy more from us? And I was just like, there it is.
And it doesn't feel like a vendor partnership. It feels like a partnership. Somebody that's a piece of our business that wants to see us grow, that wants to help us grow.
So what do we do? Well, let's take N-able as our core and wrap all these other things around it, and let's get into cybersecurity, because cybersecurity is really starting to hit hard. We had to get this goal, and darn it if we didn't do it in that December. So we were able to take that product and sell it, and it was selling like hotcakes, and we got everyone excited about it, and we made our goal.
If I was to define success, it's whether or not we're impactful. If you can make a difference in a person's life, in a client's life, in an employee's life, that's success. We're full go pass rush. So get it. Go get it. Go get it. Get some. And so, for example, in coaching, we say, hey, if you're still coaching it today the same way you were 10 years ago, you haven't gotten any better as a coach. And that's the same thing on the tech world. With us, we're constantly trying to evolve the way we train, the way we produce, and the way we impact lives.
That is a great story of what a relationship can mean, right? That is what we aspire to have with all of you. Not all of you are going to be football coaches, right? That's okay, but that's the kind of relationship, that's the kind of partnership we want to have with you, right? John has been adamant, he's been very clear with his leadership team. We need to focus on the relationships we have with you guys. It's critically important. Your success drives our success. Now, one of the things that came through the story there of Bite Time is this idea of transforming their business, right? I want to bring up to stage Rob Wilburn, who is our Vice President of Partner Growth. He has been leading this business transformation practice for us. And I've asked him to come up and just spend a few minutes talking with you guys about what he's seeing and what we're doing and how companies like Bite Time have been able to take advantage of that, and then how you guys may be able to as well. Rob?
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. Okay, great. Well, first of all, great to see everyone, especially after last night. There are a couple of folks that rolled in this morning that we all gave a big sigh of relief that they were here and wearing different clothes and ready to go. So as Kevin talked about, we've got product success. He talked about account success. And then this third piece of the triangle is business success. And really the mission of the Business Success Group and our initiative here is to help you grow your company. It's to help you build enterprise value. It's to help you change the trajectory of your growth. So we're going to talk about a couple of these programs. Over the last year, myself and Chris Massey, by the way, how many people know Chris Massey? Does anybody? Yeah, a lot of hands. Like if you know him, you know him. Chris is a great guy. He, former MSP, was part of a group that grew from about 30 people to 300. Brings a tremendous amount of expertise, great guy, so he's kind of a partner in crime with this. So over the last year, we've done deep dives with more than 150 MSPs, where we've really gone deep into their business. And two things jumped out from those meetings. So number one, the top MSPs are playing a different game. What we mean by that, they're not just incrementally better than the average. The way they're running their companies, like maybe it's somebody who's really good at growth or really good at operations, it's almost like they're playing a completely different game than everyone else. So that's one thing. The second thing is most MSPs we found are undergoing some type of business transformation challenge. And what I mean by that is there's probably a lot of groups here that you might be between, let's say 10 to 25 employees, and you've built your business by doing managed service for, let's call it sub-75-seat companies, right? So I see some people nodding their heads. And so you get to this point and you're 15, 20 people, and you're starting to think, well, what do I need to do to go to 30 people or to go to 40? And can I get there doing the same things that I've done before? And many of you are probably familiar with the Marshall Goldsmith quote or question, can what got you here get you there? And so we hear these companies asking themselves the question, well, can I double in size doing the same thing I've been doing? Sometimes the answer is yes. Usually the answer is no. And it's not just companies like that. So we'll see another cluster of companies that are at maybe the 4 or 5 million in revenue, and they're thinking, how do I go from 4 to 5 million to 10 million? And again, they're asking themselves, okay, I've built my business doing a certain type of service offering to a certain type of customer, a certain type of operational setup. Can I get to 10 million doing the same thing? And again, a lot of times the answer is no. Maybe you go up market. We were talking yesterday about co-manage. Maybe it's going up market or changing our operations. So if we go to the next slide here. So what we launched earlier this year is a set of what we call business transformation programs. We launched them back in February. There's some people in the room here that were part of that group. And in fact, if you were at one of the 8 or 9 programs this year, can you just raise your hand? We should have about 40 or 50 people. Okay, so a good number of people. There's about 100 people that have gone through it. I think we've got about 40 or 50 here in North America that are here. So here's what we do. We bring up to 30 people, so we usually max at about 30, into a room together for 2 days. There's no program cost, so you pay your travel. Once you're there, the meals, everything is on us. And we typically ask companies to send 2 people. So either the owner, the CEO, if you're part of a larger company, the head of the MSP group, and then somebody doing service delivery or operations. So this is not a technical discussion, it's a business discussion. And we have a variety of topics. So we have one program around operational efficiency, and we look at how do you go from here on your net profit to best in class. It's not a readout, it's what we call expert-led peer-informed. So we bring in folks, practitioners in the industry, to facilitate the conversation There's a lot of healthy debate that goes on. It's good that everybody's friends afterwards, but there can be some heated discussion, which is great. Many of you know Dave Wilkeson. He's one of the practitioners. I don't know if he's in the room here, but he leads the operational efficiency. We had some of the guys from Fortress that spoke yesterday that came down and helped on the security program we did. And actually, if we go to the next one here. So the feedback has been tremendous. One of the things I'm really proud of, we have every single person that comes through the program as part of the program. Before they leave, they fill out a 30-question survey. And I know, by the way, you all are trying to get that with your customers, right, with CSAT. And we're going to talk about the benchmark in a second. And, we have a sense of, how you guys, I know, are trying to get more CSAT from your engagement with your clients. So we have 100% of the people fill out a survey form. And one of the things we're really proud of is of the 9 programs we've run this year, every single program has scored higher than a 4.9 out of 5. And you think about that, that's really tough to get. Like most of us are kind of critical people, right? And so you're gonna put a 4 here and there, but they've all averaged over 4.9, and it's been great at this program to see, somebody said it's kind of like a fraternity, to see all these business owners seeing each other. We spin out peer groups from them, et cetera. But even more than the score, what I'm really excited about is the actual transformation that's happening in people's businesses. So I'm gonna share a story, and I asked these guys the other night if I could share it. So at the drinks on, I guess it was Monday night, the analytics guys, are you guys here in the room? I forget. Yeah, there we are. So I asked Brian and Chris if I could tell this story. So by the way, they're one of the largest groups in this room. So they're about 300 employees. So you would think if anybody's got everything figured out, it's these guys. And by the way, these guys have a lot figured out. Like, I'm really impressed. Like, these guys have got an incredible business. But they came down in April, May to this 2-day program around co-managed growth. And one of the things Chris Massey talks about is, we look at 5 different areas where we see MSPs leveraging co-managed to grow their business. So one of the areas we talk about is patch as a service, which a lot of people overlook. So at drinks the other night, Brian and Chris told me, hey, guess what? And by the way, remember, this is only 4 months ago that they went to this. We've launched this new patch as a service offering, and we've gotten our first customer from it. That's awesome, right? Think about that. In 4 months, you got to package it, you got to get your sales team trained up. And in fact, if anybody's interested, you can look up, Chris, after you told me about the press release, I looked it up. If you just search Analytics Patch as a Service, you'll see a bunch of press releases that they did around it. So anyway, and then there's a whole bunch of other owners here that have talked about things they've put in place and things they've changed about their business since the programs. So if we go to the next slide. So I want to close my section here. So those are the on-site programs, and I'm going to talk in a second about how you can get involved. Something I'm really excited about is this benchmark we launched. So we wanted to launch what we thought was an innovative new way of benchmarking against your peers. So it's in Tableau Online. There's no cost. There's a number of people here that have come on this year. We personally onboard every company because one of the things that's important is to normalize the data. Some of you pay yourself as salary, some of you pay yourself through owner distribution, so we have to normalize stuff like this. And what we do is tie together, so first of all, you don't see a single point average, you see a distribution, because the single point average, you don't know what the story is, right? The distribution lets you see where you fit in the context of your peers. And what's really exciting is how it helps you think about your business. So if we think about net profit, we know, depending on what benchmark you use, we know the median in the industry, so the median's about 8%. So then you think, well, okay, so if I'm a company, let's say 8%, and I want to get to best in class doing 20% or something north of that, how do I get there? Well, what we do with the benchmark in these programs is we then peel the onion. So the number one thing driving people's net profit is their labor-loaded gross margin. And Dave Wilkeson talks a lot about this in the programs. So in other words, it's the profitability of the delivery of your services. Most MSPs don't actually have their books set up right to actually track it. So then you go to the labor-loaded gross margin, and we know best-in-class companies are getting 60%, but most companies are in the 40s. And so that's hurting your bottom line. And you say, well, why am I in the 40s on my labor-loaded gross margin? So then you dig in and you say, well, how does my service or my labor cost compare to my peers? And you say, oh, okay, well, so maybe I'm high on that. And then you look at, well, how many devices per tech? I'm only doing 200 devices per tech. And we got other companies doing 400. So what are they doing different? And then you get into some of the operational. Of course, you won't be able to see here, but what percentage of tickets am I remediating through automation? Percentage of tickets with first touch resolution? And it just becomes a powerful conversation starter. So there's a couple ways to get involved with all of this. So number one, we've got some sessions today. So there's a session after lunch on the business transformation programs where you come on site. There's a session later on the benchmarking program. We've got a table in the expo hall. You can come by there. You can just grab me, grab Chris, just grab anybody from Enable and say, benchmark business transformation. So anyway, it's great to see everyone here, and I'll hand it back to you to talk about Market Builder.
Yeah, thanks so much, Rob. So those are some of the new programs, and when John talks about this idea of us helping you build your businesses, that's the kind of stuff that we're now investing in and we're doing for you, right? Yes, Mike Adler and company are doing great things with the product, but there's also this whole idea of wrapping the relationship and services around those great products. I want to talk about another product or another offer that you've heard mentioned a couple times. John mentioned it. Tracy Trottier has done a terrific job of this little pilot program that has grown up to be something very special. And unfortunately, it's one of those things that's too much of a great, well-kept secret, right? And we need to fix that. Market Builder is a program that was designed because one of the things, again, we've heard from you, you've shared with us when we're talking with you, that you struggle with sales and marketing, right? And we said, okay, look, we got Stephanie Hammond, who's our head nerd that's focused on sales. We've got now another opportunity to bring more value-add content to you, something that is included. You don't have to pay additional for it. It's available to all of you, and it's content that is purpose-built for MSPs to market yourselves and your services, right? We have 3 different campaign types. There's around security, there's various verticals, the value of managed services. So whether you're trying to attract new customers to your practice, your services, right? Or if you're looking to deepen the relationship you have with your customers, there's content here. It's everything from web content, blog content, social. There are more than 1,500 different social posts. There's videos capabilities all built into this thing, right? And Tracy, like I said, has just done a terrific job. I know she's got a booth over in the Expo Center. She ran a couple of breakout sessions yesterday. This is something that I think is so powerful and so valuable that it's free. And so you guys should absolutely be taking advantage of it. We got one more video to show. This is a short one, but this shows the power of what Market Builder can do. And this is with their friends at C&W.
My name is Eric Keene. I'm president and CEO of C&W Technologies. We're located on the Treasure Coast in Stuart, Florida. We like to say that's on the northern edge of South Florida. And we've been in business for 37 years. 2 things really. First and foremost is the content. We have ready-made content that is informative in nature and that we can select from and use to educate potential and existing clients. Second, we have a way to measure the impact of our marketing. Are people paying attention to what we are sending out? Do they show interest or do they drop us from the feed? The type of impact in any educational or informational campaign is awareness. So yes, Market Builder with other initiatives we are engaged in raise our perceived level of expertise. This then relates to our ability to offer our services at a price point we feel is appropriate for that expertise. Yes, it does save us time because we don't have to spend our time creating content. Content is one of the most important things in a marketing campaign, and because the content is already there and available, it gives us a lot of opportunity to use that content and save us the time of having to build it ourselves. Having said that, Our time can then be used for more important tasks such as sales calls, sales follow-ups, or working on the business instead of in the business. Yes, I often hear from other MSPs how difficult it is to market their business. I get it because we were no different than them. Market Builder is a key piece that they can use to create a meaningful marketing campaign with measurements of its success. N-able has provided the tool in the toolbox, and like any tool, it does no good if it just sits in that toolbox. Pull out the tool, learn about the tool, and then use it, and you'll have great success.
All right, that's going to be one of your homework pieces later. So that's a great story, again, of what we're trying to do to help you guys grow your businesses, right? So there was another bit of feedback that we got from you. You're asking us, hey, by the way, we want to look at a structure where we can extend our services, right? We want to look at how do we be able to move to, like, for example, 7x24 support. So earlier this year, we created a new partnership with our friends at IT by Design, Sonny and his team down here in the front. They offer the ability for you all to extend your capabilities, to expand through, I've learned that we're not supposed to be calling it an outsourced NOC, so I apologize for that, an extended NOC. But the idea here is you now have the ability to expand your own service delivery. You can offload some of those things that maybe, I like the way you position it, Sonny, backstage, right? And you can take care of servicing your customers, making sure that you're doing the high value add things while they're handling some of the heavy lifting on the back end for you. So it's an important relationship for us. We have, again, this idea being is that we're in a constant relationship with you where we're listening to what you're saying to us. We're trying to drive more innovation, be responsive to what you all are looking for. So I want to recap here, and then I'm gonna turn it over. So talked about this idea of partnering for success, and it's really about mutual success, because we recognize, as John has talked about, our success is predicated on your success. Everything we do is in the spirit of that. Now, we've got these three vectors. We've got product success, and walk through those. We've got account success and how we're aligning our teams to make sure that we show up in the way that you want them to, right? And that you can engage with us. And now our exciting new business success. So this slide is an important one. This is one you guys should do a screenshot of, right? It has a nice single pane view, if you will, of all the things that we're doing around this. And you'll note the hour in this is our shared success. And that's a really important construct for us. So now you got to get your notepads out, because I'm going to give you some homework. All right. What I want you to take from this and do now, right? First of which is you got to schedule a strategic business review, right? If we want to get alignment and you want to get alignment with us as we do with you, let's talk about what you care about. Let's talk about where you're at in your journey. What are the things you all are focusing on, and how can we help you, right? If there are issues with your product, we need to know about that. Let's make sure that we really get clear about what you're trying to do, where you're taking your business, and how you could use our help, right? Because we are here. We're extending our arms, our hands to say, look, we'll come along on this journey with you. Just share with us. Be open with us, right? That's one. The next one, get your teams involved with these business success programs. The early response, and it's a small cohort, I admit, but we've had more than 100 groups get involved with us. It's really important. There's great learnings because it extends what we've been doing here at Empower. It's mostly peer-to-peer, right? Get involved. Let us help you discover new ideas, new ways of bringing your services and new services to markets. That's a really important one. And then lastly, if you haven't already, I would tell you, you got to take advantage of Market Builder, right? Stop by the booth, talk to Tracy, talk to Stephanie Hammond. This is a great program, guys. And even if you say, but I've got a good sales thing, it's a bunch of free content that your teams can take and use. We actually have partners doing that. They take our content and put it into their own engine. That completely makes sense as well, right? So we've covered a lot of good content. I really appreciate what you've done for my teams. I appreciate all of the levels of effort you've gone to to make yourselves open to what we're trying to do, right? I love Empower and what it's brought together for us. I'm looking forward to spending more time with you. If you have any questions for me or any member of my team, please don't hesitate to reach out. And with that, I want to now turn it over to our keynote speaker for the day. Hopefully this is a name that you guys are familiar with. Ken Schmidt is a very dynamic speaker. He is the former Director of Communications for Harley-Davidson. He is a noted speaker and an award-winning author, so let's welcome him to stage now.